Marty, this conversation about family is so important, especially now, because families are divided over our political situation. I am feeling disgust and outraged for family members that I love. And in a recent paper that you wrote called Disgust, Violence, and Politics, you name what has been so difficult during the last few months, especially at the Thanksgiving dinner table, when it was just hard for us to be in the presence of family members. You write that the prospect of eating with someone who disgusts us makes us want to puke. And a lot of people felt that over the Thanksgiving dinner table, and ever since. It's a feeling of disgust, of social disgust. Can you talk about what is disgust and social disgust?
Right. Well, I came upon the topic of disgust because it's really falling two ways. It's at the dinner table when we have these strong political disagreements with each other, and we may even use the word disgust to describe how we feel about what someone else is saying. But it's also, I noticed, in our political commentary, so that one of the things that I have been trying to understand is how disgust is featuring on that political landscape. And during the campaign, there were some incidents that candidate Trump talked about in terms of his disgust. So when he did the debate and Megyn Kelly challenged him, he had comments about her and the fact that she must have been having her period, and he found that disgusting. When candidate Clinton took a bathroom break, he said, "I know where she went. I won't say where she went. It's too disgusting to say." And during the Women's March, Madonna was on the stage, and he said that her appearance was disgusting. So that's a word that comes out of his mouth fairly often. And the other thing that's concerning to me is that in some of the public incidents about the Islam, that Muslims have been referred to with words that are part of the vocabulary of disgust. So a number of mosques a couple of weeks ago received the same letter. The mosque in Des Moines received one, which was the same as one that was received in Indianapolis and various other places. And the language of that letter talked about Muslims being vile, which is very close to being a synonym for disgust. And it talked about them needing to be removed and use the language that America needs to become clean again, which again is right out of the vocabulary of disgust. So when we're talking about disgust, I discovered while I was researching it that Martha Nussbaum, who is one of our top philosophers of law, had written a book called Hiding from Humanity that's about disgust, and helpfully for my interests, also about outrage, because in our political scene, if we are not disgusted, we are outraged. So we go to our computer screens and we bring up the news and we either say that's disgusting or that's outrageous. It's one or the other. So I look first at what she says about disgust, and disgust is not subject to reason. It is something that wells up in us. There's a kind of magical thinking associated with it. And one reason that we know that it's not subject to reason is we can test that by confronting someone with a reasoned explanation of why they should not find something disgusting. So, for example, bats. Some persons are fine with bats. They love bats. And I'm talking about the furry things that fly around silently. And they eat mosquitoes, and they are helpful for our environment, et cetera, et cetera. Well, no amount of explanation for me about how wonderful bats are is going to change my mind that I find them disgusting. I've had some close encounters with bats, and I find them creepy and disgusting, and I don't want any of them to be part of my life. So reason doesn't stop disgust. disgust operates on a pre-reasonable level, but that doesn't mean it can't be analyzed. And it actually, it's all the more important that we analyze it. So that was one of the things that I set out to do in the last few months, is to see, can we get a better sense of what's going on with disgust than we have had in the past? Because if that's a driver in our political present, then its very unreasonableness suggests that we need to look very closely at it.